How you doing? So I'm sitting here after just taking a nap. So I have been kind of just walking around, sleeping, laying down. And yes, it's been nice. It's been okay. It hasn't been due to any other reason than, you know, there's just not much to do here. And so that's got me contemplating the next card. I've realized, okay, well, what I can do is I can write some of my guidebook for my oracle deck, right? And so I've, you know, yeah. See, the thing is, I think she's kind of happy that we're parked it here for a couple of days, and so again, isn't that the purpose, right? But she'd rather be doing stuff than, I mean, she'd rather be kind of open aired, free roaming, than to be, confined to the car when we're packed up. But the card that I have to write next is water. You hear that thunder? Hopefully that catches. Is water. Right, the next card is water. Right, the whole vibe here is just like slow and like kind of like no rushing, and that's fine. My point is, as I get to the point after a long period of time delaying, is that sometimes, well, the purpose of that card is about getting into the flow, right? Yes, water's about emotions, and that's part of it too, but it's letting go and getting into the flow, right? Those are the two other key phrases on that card. And I really started thinking about how I chose a waterfall for that card because to me, it's when water is at its peak performance or at its peak intensity. And so, yes, does a river flow? Sure. Does a lake flow when there's wind passing over it? Yeah, like it moves. But what is the most intense moment for a body of water? When it falls over a waterfall, right? When it comes crashing down, free falling in the air. But yeah, it's still in flow, right? It's still flowing in its normal, or in its natural, I should say, pace, and it's still letting go of everything, just in a more tumultuous, maybe, or maybe just a more intense is really the word, an intense way. And I think that's kind of ringing true to me as how I just am, how I go about things, right? I think it's a good lesson to, for the first time. And yes, I did once in Mount Rushmore book a campsite for 2 nights, but then I stayed only one and got refunded for the other. This is the first time that I've stayed in a campsite for 2 consecutive nights. Yeah. You're happy about that, I think, right? Yeah. But I'm a little bit bored with it. I like unpacking and getting myself set up and cooking after I've checked in, and then it's almost nightfall, and then it's sleep time, and then it's wake up, and then it's pack up the tent, and then it's figure out where to go, right? I like that globetrotting type mentality. That can get away from you if you don't maybe look at the other side of it. And yes, this is a peaceful place, and yes, I've enjoyed it, and I've enjoyed slowing down. But as a fire sign, that's not my natural way. That's just not my natural way, and I need to stop beating myself up about that not being my natural way, or that is my natural way, right? I need to stop maybe, yes, getting too frantic or frenetic at times when slowing down will help, getting some rest, right? It's a balance. But I also can rely on my strength to go, right? To just go. Now, if I'm going to cover over some level of fear or some level of, an unhealed part of me. Like if I'm not willing to look at something, right? If I'm not willing to understand why I'm moving forward so fast, then that's probably a moment that I should take the time out, because that moving fast is a band-aid or it's a response to unearthed or unresolved emotions, water card, or feelings that haven't been totally investigated. But if I'm thriving on the movement, right? If I'm, excited by the movement, if I'm flowing, right? If that's getting me into the flow, then there's nothing wrong with that. That's my natural way. So, I think that takes a little bit of discernment from one situation to the next, and those, situations are nuanced. And so in some in some moments, you might think that's one and it might be the other, and you're gonna mess it up, right? I mess it up, but I don't think it's a negative to default to a little bit more of intense impulsivity or intense impassioned, getting into my flow, which is a fast moving flow, right? It's a turbulent flow, but it moves, baby, right? Like, it goes, it's speedy, and it's fast, and it's quick, and it's decisive, but it's nonetheless something that speaks to my soul. And as long as I'm speaking to the other parts of my soul that also want recognition, that don't want to be run from with that impulsivity, right? You can harness those characteristics in one or two ways, like not one or two ways, but you can harness them to run from something, or you harness them to, flow with the energy. If I'm doing the latter, then I'm good, right? And I should have no qualms with going with that, right? Going with that flow. That's my flow. And I'm gonna use it, right? I'm gonna use it in that way because it's my strength. And it's my, that's my characteristic. So that'll hopefully help me write the next card, and we're gonna get to that right now.